Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll look at a game-changing technology that is providing newfound freedom for blind and visually impaired people. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Technology is racing along. It seems like every year you have a new innovation. In fact, if you have last year's iPhone, you're out of date. That's important to know because there are some industries that have been the same for generations. And one of those industries is the blind and visually impaired industry, because you have white canes that go back for decades. And now there's a game-changing technology that is really creating new freedoms and liberations for people who are blind and visually impaired. To talk about that today, Diego Roel. He is the CEO of Strap Technologies. Diego, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff, for your invitation. I actually love how you started the show, because the white cane has not been along for decades, but for a century. It was invented in 1921, and we are in 2021, and it has not been updated. So it's a great industry we are introducing a new revolutionary device for them.
Absolutely. Well, will you hold up your device and describe it for us and how it works?
Of course. So we actually have developed the world's first straw replacement of the white cane for the blind. And is this just harness you can put super easy, just like a t-shirt around your neck and your body. And then you just plug it in. You have it right here. You just turn it on and you're ready to go. So we have a bunch of sensors all around the device and haptic actuators on the back and all around the straps. So what this does is to be able to sense whatever you are on your environment. So they're looking at everything on your head, they're looking at the floor, at your side, at front of you, and they are able to identify any possible collisions or obstacles any visual impaired person can have on the way. So in case there is a collision, before it collides, of course, the haptic feedback or the haptic actuators will notify the user about possible collisions, and depending on the sequence, the rhythm, and all these animations we have, the movement, we're able to communicate to the user what you have in front. It can be a head obstacle, it can be the stairs, upstairs, downstairs, bumps, holes, animals, entries, exits, persons, and whatever obstacle you may have on your daily life.
And as we were preparing for this show, you were giving me an illustration of, suppose a visually impaired person was coming towards some stairs. They would actually feel a vibration on their chest. Is that what would happen?
Yes. So one of our main innovations, besides the first replacement of the cane, what our engineers accomplish is to develop something we call a haptic language feedback, which we have a huge array of haptics, and we develop animations to communicate to the user. So we can communicate complex pieces of information in a really simple and intuitive way. Let me go through an example just to clarify how this haptic language works, because we never tell you words nor sentences. For example, if you're in front of the downstairs, the device will start to tell you to vibrate in a motion, in a vertical motion. Like if you're downstairs, the vibration will start like here on the upside of your chest, will go to the middle and then to the low part of your chest. So we'll feel this vibration from top to bottom. That means there's downstairs. But then it's really important to know the height of the stairs. So to be able to know the height of the stairs, we try to imitate the bouncing ball going through the stairs. So if the steps are small, you will feel the bouncing ball going fast, like boom, boom, boom. But if there are high steps, you will feel the bouncing ball going accordingly. So you will feel something like this. Boom, boom, boom. So this is just an example of how the haptic language works. And we have patterns and imitate all the possible things you can find yourself outside, like chairs, like persons, walls, bumps, sidewalks, and whatever you can imagine.
I think you are absolutely on Shark Tank because this is a brilliant idea. We've got an overview video. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Every 5 seconds, someone in the world loses their sight. This equals 17,000 people per day. Right now, there are approximately 300 million blind people around the world. This is expected to grow to 700 million by 2050. In 100 years, the white cane has not been updated to support today's visually impaired population. It's time to change the lives of millions. We understand there are challenges and new opportunities to help us achieve more, do more, and live more. We want people with visual impairment to be totally independent and do their activities autonomously. From your home or office, to the outdoors, to exploring new places, you're now creating your life, your way. With your help, we can invent technology to turn the impossible into possible. With a completely intuitive and easy-to-use system, Strap becomes a new sense and a new way of seeing and feeling the environment. Our assistive technology works for both children and adults. It's that easy to use. Our haptic communication method allows you real-time mobility instructions to guide and engage you about your environment to keep you safe. We take care of you. Strap comes with continuous software support delivered by Wi-Fi, updated learning guides sent directly to you, a 2-day battery charge, and a magnetic charger to keep you going and active in your life. Experience your life. With Strap, you have more exploring, more living, and more autonomy from the moment you wear it. Strap. Let's change the way we see the world.
This is absolutely amazing, and I bet there's a lot of inventors around the planet who wish they had come up with this first. I should tell the audience, you're just 19 years old. How did you come up with this idea?
Yes, indeed, I'm 19 years old, Jeff. And this idea was born, or the seed of this was born when I was like 10 years old, when I was in a supermarket with my mom. And at the distance, I saw like a 20-year-old in a walker. But beside the walker, he was stroke survivor. So one of his hands was like paralyzed, just like this. So he had a weird attachment on the elbow to be able to grab the walker with that side and the hand with the other. So he had like weak legs or something in the legs. I'm not sure that he needed the walker. So I was 10 years old. I think I didn't even knew impairments existed. So I was amazed, like I was kind of in shock. And I keep staring at this guy. And several minutes later, this guy tried to grab an apple he had in front, and he could not, because it was so difficult for him. He was not able to use the stroke survivor hand because it was paralyzed. He was not able to use the good hand because then he will fall off because he had a walker. So he needed to ask for help to be able to grab the apple. And at that moment was like in truly shock, because I was thinking to myself like, oh my God, how is possible that something that is so easy to do for me or for you, Jeff, or probably for the persons in the audience, for this guy was nearly impossible? Like, wow. And again, in a magical world of a 10-year-old, I promised myself to be able to do something, to be able to make that person grab the apple with the same facility I'm able to. Fortunately, I have been studying robotics 12 years now, as I have a huge background on robotics. So like around 6 years later, because the truth is that I forgot about that and I continue in my life. But 6 years later, I had a kind of a flashback. And I started to go to the web and do some research about that. And I found that for mobility impairments, big corporations using millions of dollars developing smart wheelchairs and devices just like Iron Man suits. But I continued my research and I found out, I don't even remember how, but I ended up with a World Health Organization article that stated persons in the world and that every 5 seconds someone lost their sight. Like, this is amazing. We're talking about 17,000 persons that lost their sight every day and within their independence. And as we started the show, the white cane was invented in 1921. And we're in 2021, has not been changed. This tool is outdated and do not work for a world of today. Our world just changed in a such rapid, as I just said, your iPhone, you cannot have the same phone for 100 years. You cannot have the same tool for mobility where millions of blind people deposit their life for a century. So there's where I decided to put all my robotics knowledge at the moment to do something for the blind, to make them able to do the same things with the same facility a non-visually impaired person can do. And that's how Stripe was founded. But until today, after several years, after 3 years, right now we are a 30-person company with a headquarters in Austin, Texas, and another office in Mexico.
Wow, I am so impressed with you, and that you have become a media darling. We're going to put up on the screen a Fast Company article. Tell us about the speed bumps along the way, because I know it's one thing to come up with an idea and put it on a table napkin, and it's another thing to get it to market. What have been...
Plenty. I want to say, like, one of them is the age, because no one believes like an 18, 19-year-old person can be a good CEO, can lead a development of such high technology like this one, where we have neural networks inside, a huge amount of sensors processing a lot of information and numbers and complex mathematical models for our algorithms. So no one wanted to. So I took the task to do the first proof of concept, and I did myself with my hands the first like 5 or 6 prototypes of the device until I got a more or less working prototype. They could start moving around without colliding and knowing what was around them. And when I was able to show that, a lot of people got interested on the idea until today that we are almost going to the go-to-market on the fourth quarter of this year.
What's been the reaction from the blind and visually impaired community?
That's a great question, and they have been amazing. We have a committee of beta testers where it's like a we send unit for them to test since a day to a week to a month for them to test and give us feedback. And their comments has been amazing. There is a guy called Victor. He was one of our first beta testers in the company, and he lost his sight like I think when he was 13 or something. And when he tried the device, he was 22 or 23, and he put it on. We teach him how to use it. In 2 or 3 minutes, he understood completely how to use it. And we were actually in a showroom. We were in a big convention center. I met him on that event. So he put it on and he started walking all around the showroom with a lot of people going around, booths and chairs and tables and bags on the floor. And he was starting to move. And when he noticed it worked, he started almost running, and I got super scared. But he was running because for the blind, it's normal not to see. If we blindfold ourselves and we put the device, we're a little bit more insecure about moving. So he was able to move around. When a person was going through him, he was able to stop, move and continue, going down for any head obstacles, going like over any bag on the floor or obstacle around. So he gave me his cane and he was able to move around. After the testing, we got him to a little interview and I asked him, Victor, in one word, how do you feel? And with a smile from ear to ear on his face, he answered, I feel normal. I feel like Iron Man. So he was amazed, and it was the first time Victor was able to move in such like magnitude of events. without help, human help, nor help of any other tool rather than our device.
Wow. Well, I mentioned Shark Tank, and I'm serious about that. It's a natural for a show like that. What are your greatest needs right now? Do you need investment dollars?
I'm proud to say we just raised our seed round. It was of $1.3 million, and we are aiming to open our Series A round around after the go-to-market in September, December. We are starting the Series A.
And I'm sure that there are people watching this broadcast right now who have somebody in their life that they're already thinking about this for. How soon can the public get their hands on this?
As I said, the fourth quarter of this year, the technology is ready, the device is working. Right now, we are working on the manufacturing process and on the supply chain and consumer support service and all the peripherals we need to have to be able to release that go-to-market. So actually, next week we're doing the last manufacturing test, and if all goes well, we are jumping onto the mass production.
Wow, we've only got about a minute left. So, what are some final thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience with?
You can contact us through our website, strap.tech. You can also pre-order now. Pre-orders are going great. So you can pre-order with a huge discount on the units, launching again for quarter of this year. And I want to say that we do this because not just for the technology, because we believe that independence is a human right. And the fact that a visually impaired person right now is trying to do something and it's unable to do or needs to ask for help makes and converts independence in a luxury and not in the human right. So in Stripe, we believe independence is a human right and needs to be treated as that. So our device and the whole mission of the device is to be able to make visually impaired people to go again to college campus and be able to study there without any difficulty, to be able to have new employment opportunities, because 85% of visually impaired persons in the United States, it's unemployed. So imagine to be able to reintegrate these 85% of visually impaired persons unemployed to the economic and to the labor force on the United States, for them to be able to have new access to education, to opportunities, to just to be able to go for a coffee on the streets by themselves. So this is the whole mission, the whole idea of why we're doing this.
Wow, I am so impressed with you, Diego Roel. He is the CEO of Strap Technologies. We're going to end by putting up the website. It's strap.tech. Diego, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you to you, Jeff.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.